reports are suggesting that Canada's newly sworn-in Prime Minister Mark Carney is expected to call a national election this Sunday, with voting set for April the 28th. This comes after Carney took over as Liberal leader following Justin Trudeau's resignation. The election is likely to focus heavily on the ongoing trade dispute with the US and President Donald Trump's tariffs, with Carney positioning himself as the candidate best equipped to handle US President Donald Trump's trade war, promising to maintain Canada's tariffs if Trump continues his economic pressure. Recent polls show a tight race between Carney and Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre, who previously held a strong lead. Carney's election would set the stage for a 5-week campaign. Despite being a general political newcomer, he is set to face off against Poilievre and NDP leader Jagmeet Singh. This election comes months ahead of the scheduled fixed date, with 343 seats up for grabs in the House of Commons after a recent redistribution. The timing of the election is crucial as Canada faces significant challenges related to trade, jobs and the economy. Well, joining us to discuss this impending snap election call is Daniel Boardman, a senior correspondent for the National Telegraph, who's joining us from Ottawa, Canada. Daniel, thank you very much for joining us. Firstly, I think we have to obviously make sure that this is happening. In your opinion, is the snap election imminent, and do you think it's set for the date that we've mentioned, the 28th of April?
This is the shortest possible election possible. I mean, some Americans might find it crazy that Canada can have it's like a 35-day election, 36 days, and that's the whole thing. This is the sort of the most popular Liberals will ever be. They were deeply unpopular under Justin Trudeau, and Donald Trump really gave them a gift by, instigating this trade war and starting to spout off megalomaniacally about tariffs every 48 hours or so. So Mark Carney, who was most Canadians view as an unelected insert into prime ministership, a lot of Canadians feel that way because the Liberal leadership race was not open to all. And again, most internal party elections in Canada are in some way undemocratic or pseudo-democratic, possibly. So he has the best distancing from Justin Trudeau right now. If he were to get into office and start to govern the way he wants to govern, he would deeply become unpopular instantly because he was the advisor for Justin Trudeau. All the failed policies of Justin Trudeau are Mark Carney's policies, exactly. But he knows how to articulate them, let's say, in a different way. Whereas Trudeau was more emotional blackmail. Vote for me if you're a good person. People who don't vote for me are not good people. All good people are Liberals, from the heart outwards. And people started to see through this as him being a bit of a buffoon and a fop. Mark Carney is the same exact thing, except in a suit. So instead of emotive nonsense, you have technobabble. So this is the appeal of smart people are Liberal. Look at the suit I'm wearing. I used to run the Bank of England. Look at all this money I printed. I know everyone. I'm very, 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 very smart. This is why we need to cap our emissions and our production. And we can't get our oil and natural resources to market, because if we exchange our resources for money, we will then have wealth and an economy. And that's not how finance and economies work. Trust me, I ran a bank. That's the new appeal of Mark Carney. And it's sort of working, but it only works when it has the illusion running. So right now the media, which Canadian media is all, they're stenographers of the Liberal Party, all of them, all the mainstream ones. So right now they could just push out as much, Carney propaganda as they can. But the problem is every time Mark Carney gets in front of a camera and has to answer questions, he gets exposed. So this is the shortest possible time frame. He doesn't have to go into the House of Commons. He can call an election. He can run against Donald Trump instead of Pierre Poilievre, because when people listen to the things Pierre Poilievre says and does, they tend to like them. For example, Mark Carney's two most popular things he's done that he is advertising he's doing now: one, repealing the carbon tax, which was Pierre Poilievre's entire thing. And the second thing he's promoting he's done is remove GST tax on new home buys under $1 million, which was straight out of Pierre Poilievre's platform. So all the popular things that he's selling to Canadians that he's doing for the country are all from the Conservative platform.
Yes.
So this is his problem.
Yes, Daniel, sorry to interject there. I want to look, we know, of course, the difficulties that Canada is currently facing now with the trade war and tariffs. But can you explain to our audience some of the challenges that he's facing domestically in Canada, some of the things that people are unhappy with after the Trudeau reign?
Yeah, so mass migration is one of the ones that Canadians, no party's really brave enough to talk about. But again, we were a country of 30 million people under Justin Trudeau, and then we are now a country of 40 million people later, and most of that growth is due to immigration. The student visa program is way out of control. We have so many temporary foreign workers who have overstayed their visas and all that. Housing is another big issue as an offshoot of both the money laundering criminal enterprises that launder money through real estate in Canada, and also the mass migration have created a very big immigration problem and housing problem that people are dealing with. And there's a massive cost of living problem as well, because again of all of Trudeau's failed policies and inflation. Every time, the Liberals get so lucky every time the country catches up on them and realizes that their policies have caused a massive cost of living crisis. There's something new that happens in the news, whether it be the Russia-Ukraine war or in this time Trump's tariff war, where they could say, oh, great, Trump tariff war, this is the best thing possible for the Liberals, because now they can just shift all their failed economic policies onto Donald Trump and say, well, the reason why everything is so crazy right now is because of Donald Trump. And some people might remember, well, things were crazy 3 months ago, 4 months ago, 5 months ago, 6 months ago, 7 months ago, the last couple of years. But when you have the entire media apparatus willing to just push, literally they'll run the ads of the Liberal Party and the attack ads of the Liberal Party as news on Canadian news broadcasting stations. So when you have that type of media ecosystem, they can kind of just push out whatever narratives they want. But there are hardcore cost of living crisis in Canada, national identity crisis in Canada, immigration crisis, housing crisis, inflation, any type of serious economic problem or cultural problem you can think of, we have in Canada.
Yes, and to bring an end to this discussion, Daniel, I want to look away from Mark Carney and look at the people that will be challenging him. Can you talk to us just briefly about those who are vying for his position?
So it's Pierre Poilievre or Mark Carney. Pierre Poilievre is the Conservative. He's going to run a center-right Conservative campaign, and Mark Carney is going to run a pretend center-right Conservative campaign with some radical leftism mixed in. And then there's Jagmeet Singh, who has completely destroyed the NDP. His policy is, I guess, Khalistan Zindabad. We'll see how that goes in Canada. But the NDP is being totally wiped out. The NDP vote is flown totally into Liberals. They're a nonsense party. You then have the Bloc Québécois, which are running in Quebec on Quebec things. They're a separatist party. They'll get a good amount of the votes. That's the Canadian political landscape there.
Daniel Boardman, thank you very much for your time.